I want to change the way that people are doing business in the HVAC world, right? Like with customer acquisition costs so high, there's a lot of pressure on a technician to get in the house and sell everything they can in that moment, right? Even if the customer doesn't need that, right? So like what we want to say is hang on to that customer for life. If I can build a relationship with a customer and they just come to me, I no longer have to pay to keep acquiring them.
Today's episode is powered by Cirro Systems.
Cirro is all about removing the clutter and unnecessary touch points to run your home service business profitably.
They use AI dispatching to get the right tech to the right call automatically and job time efficiency to ensure your entire team runs like a profit-generating machine.
Get a tech upgrade for your business at get.cirro.tech/service-business-mastery. Today's episode is brought to you by one of our show partners, UpFrog.
UpFrog is the OG when it comes to pricing transparency online. They find system replacement leads through paid ads and have developed an entire system to drive those hard-to-find system replacement opportunities, nurture the leads, and book them into sold systems before your team arrives to help you grow your business.
Learn more at upfrog.io. Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I am one of the hosts, Tersh Blissett. Joshua Crouch is my co-host. He may join us. He may not. His internet literally just died on him. So the joys of not being right next to each other when we're recording podcasts, technology, you can't live with it and you can't burn it. I don't know. What's that saying? But I'm excited to have Dan on the show today. Dan Goodman with Building36. And if you're not familiar with Building36, it's automation, like in the building side of things, in your home automations. And we talk automations as far as connecting software to software and that type of thing. But I'm excited to talk automation with you, Dan. And it's great. So Dan and I, we've met in the past and we've had great conversations. So some of the conversation that we may have, it may be like, hey, y'all seem like old time friends. That's because we are. And so with that being said, Dan, would you give a short introduction of yourself, your background, and your history?
Deep down, I'm a recovering engineer. I studied electrical engineering, computer science at MIT. I started my career in semiconductors. So I was out traveling the world trying to get people to change their machines from gears and sprockets to processors. And as soon as there was a processor, there was data. And they said, I want to get at my data. So I said, man, I got to figure this out. So I joined a wireless startup and we made these chips that were, making devices communicate. One of the first things I got a design win on was a smart meter. And all of a sudden I said, man, you're going to need a thermostat to talk to this smart meter so that if electricity prices are high, you can manage your air conditioning and manage your energy bill. So I said, I got to figure out how to make a thermostat. So I started a thermostat company. We made the first Wi-Fi thermostat. So we had the 3M products at Home Depot, and that quickly led me to making thermostats for the security world. So like Vivint and 2GIG and Verizon, Comcast, all those guys were using my thermostats. And I like to joke, I woke up one night in a cold sweat saying, man, I'm selling thermostats to a cable company. It's like, you think of a company on earth less appropriate to touch your thermostat than your cable company. So we started Building36. And really the big thing that happened to us was we realized that a lot of people were selling connected products, right? And a connected product has cost after you sell it. Normally you sell a product once, you made your profit, go sell the next one. And with connected products, it was like, no. Every time Apple came out with a new app or, there was a security patch or whatever it was, like we were constantly having to reinvest in these products that we already sold and, had no path to monetization after the fact. So we started Building36 with kind of two intentions. One was to get out of retail and really get thermostats in the hands of the people who actually know what's going on behind the thermostat, right? And that was the professional trades. We said, we don't want to sell to consumers anymore. We want to sell to the trades so that, that you could have this expert relationship. And then we wanted to help them turn this from a kind of a transactional, we're going to sell this thing one time and go find somebody else, to this value added services offering for the trades. And that's really where Building36 came about.
Just thermostats, or do you have security cameras and stuff like that as well?
It can expand to everything, right? So like my house, I have 84 connected devices and one very patient wife. But it's just one of these things that the more you get to use the system, the more you're like, oh man, I wish I had. And then you're like, of course we can do that. So like my house, for me, I know some of the things that I really, really couldn't live without now are like my connected locks. I can see my kids come home from school, right? And it's like to see your kids come home from school and know that everybody's home and safe and little things. Like I'm traveling right now. my lights are coming on at sunset, right? I don't have to worry about that house looking dark from the street. It's like, no, I know the lights are coming on. And then the peace of mind stuff, right? I know I've got an ejector pump in our basement. It's like if anything happens to that pump, I'm going to get a notification.
So it's an alarm type thing. So the alarm itself is connected, not the pump.
Yeah. So like for the pump controller, we have a little, just a little sensor that we can put right on it and get an alert if anything like that happens. And
so they don't have to replace, like I'm thinking like the contractors who might be listening to this and they're thinking about, all right, how am I going to sell this to my clients? I don't want to have to tell them they need a whole new pump.
Right.
So you can just attach to the current existing stuff.
Right. And most of them, it's the pump controller. So like I know Pro Series Pumps is one of our partners and they have a pump controller that has a dry contact output. So we have a dry contact sensor that you can just put on that pump controller. So it's amazing how many devices out there have these type of interfaces.
What about the ones where, so like we have like the full Google Home stuff. So like even the lights that I have right here in front of me, the lights behind me, they're all on a switch and I can control that switch from my phone.
Yep.
And they're all part of the Google Home suite, and which kind of is irritating at times because then like Google does an update and then all of a sudden, like some of my lights switches, I have to go to the manufacturer's app because they're no longer in my Google Home anymore. So like my kitchen island lights were different because it's on a 3-way switch and Google Home didn't have a 3-way switch at the time, blah, 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 whatever. Can you put like your Google or your Nest things into Building36?
We integrate with by far the most number of manufacturers out there. Like my house, I've got LiftMaster garage doors and Lutron lights, Quickset locks, Yale locks, Arachio sprinkler, so we have the ability to, there's a protocol called Z-Wave, which is home automation devices. So any Z-Wave device can come into our ecosystem. And then we can also do cloud to cloud connections with all sorts of other manufacturers and even proprietary thermostats. So like Lennox iComfort and April Air has theirs, Carrier has Infinity, Bryant Evolution. We can all pull those into our app as well. So it's literally one app to control everything. And then we can add on top of that, video monitoring, doorbell cameras, and all those other pieces.
Okay, so what about so like I have a Trane T-Con 1050. We're getting into the world of like every manufacturer having their own thermostat. Like we're getting kind of away from the Honeywells. Like obviously the Honeywells are still, they're not going out of business by any means, but like the more we put in these communicating systems, a lot of times we're getting into, like you said, proprietary thermostats. Are we going to do the same could we access my Trane thermostat through the program?
Trane is coming. We've been talking to the product manager over there. So Trane is on its way. I'm hoping by the end of the year we'll have that one. We do have a lot of them today.
Okay.
But the 24 volt control is still the predominant, just what's out there. And there's some manufacturers like Goodman, right, and Amana that their high-end systems still use 24 volt controls, and they put the intelligence on the motherboard of the furnace, which to me is a smart thing to do. So you don't even need the proprietary thermostat. But if you're a contractor, you got to ask yourself a question, right? You think about this product, you just went and earned this customer's business. You went into their house. The first thing that customer is going to go do is give their information to somebody else. Is that what you want? Right? It's like with, what we're doing is saying, no, this customer is yours. You own the customer. You own the customer relationship. So that way, when this customer gets activated, you, the contractor, owns the relationship, right? And all the notifications come from you. All the alerts come from you. And the book service now button goes right to your booking page inside of our app.
That booking page that goes into that doesn't send them to your scheduling page. Like they wouldn't send it to my scheduling page on my website, correct?
No, it would. If you're using like a Service Titan or something, like it'll actually pop up the Service Titan booking widget right inside of our app, and it's completely dynamic. So we can set it up to be whatever it is.
What about Joe? So Joe Strip Matter, he asked about Smart AC. Are you familiar with Smart AC?
Of course.
Does that integrate with Building36 as well?
No, it's not. I mean, so Smart AC is a Delta T, right? So I put a sensor on my supply, put a sensor on my return, and I'm looking at that Delta T. But I have a question for you. If I'm looking at a Delta T and my system calls for fan, right? System calls for cool, what's the difference, right? So like if I'm sitting here looking for a broken system, how do I know what the system is doing if I don't know whether I'm calling for heat or calling for cool or calling for fan?
Yeah. Admittedly, I don't know enough about smart AC to be able to even argue one way or the other or against it.
I mean, it's funny. We agree on a lot. I think the premise of what we're trying to say is that, at least from my standpoint, I want to change the way that people are doing business in the HVAC world, right? Like with customer acquisition costs so high, right? There's a lot of pressure on a technician to get in the house and sell everything they can in that moment, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Even if the customer doesn't need that, right? So like what we want to say is hang on to that customer for life, right? If I can build a relationship with a customer and they just come to me, I no longer have to pay to keep acquiring them.
Do we have the ability to send out a report? Because I'm pretty sure the app has got our logo on it, right?
Right. So it's all branded for the contractor. It has alerts. Yeah, you get a monthly heating, cooling, health report. So you'll get a report that comes out every month that shows you this is your average daily runtime. This is the average indoor temperature, average outdoor temperature. But we're also flagging that for fault. So I can identify, hey, this system's calling for cool and the house isn't cooling down.
Yeah, the temperature is taking like 6 hours.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, this thing isn't recovering. And then we'll send an alert and we can push that alert directly into your CRM. So that way, you can dial out on it immediately. And we even give it something for a CSR or even ultimately an AI machine to sit there and say like, here's the data you need to say that, hey, at 6:48 p.m., your house was set to 72, but it was 74 and rising. Yeah. Right. You need help. And then, we send that alert to the contractor, we send that alert to the customer, and they can go ahead and just click the service call, book service button right inside the app.
So Billy Klein asked, I own a door replacement company. I'm intrigued by the smart lock feature. So if I own the branded interface and they get a new AC later that's compatible, who would be the branded contractor on the app?
So that's a great use case. So we have the ability to have multiple owners because we also make the apps for, I don't know what percentage in the security world, but it's pretty high. We're in over 10 million properties on the security side.
So on the security side of things, like I'll go to some properties or talk to some homeowners and they're like, man, I hate this thermostat because the security company controls it, or I have to go through the security company's interface and blah, blah, blah. Like I have issues. Can you just swap it out with this thermostat over here? But knowing that majority of those like already run through your program, like are there some security programs out there that are not
that are not us? There's quite a few that are not us, and a lot of like the DIY stuff is we don't do any DIY stuff. Everything we do is professionally installed, professionally monitored, so it's all B2B2C. But like some of the bigger names that out there are using our stuff.
How does it work for the contractor? Like when they sign up to use Building 36, walk me through that process on there.
You'd sign up as a contractor. And then we've got a couple of different models, but it's basically free hardware, $10 a month, or you're paying for thermostats and your monthly fee is a little bit less. But you fundamentally as a contractor own the relationship with the end user customer, right? So what you should do is you bundle our plan as part of your maintenance program, right? So if the customer chooses to leave the maintenance program, then say, sorry, I'm going to have to turn off your connected home. And so it becomes this glue where we see over 90% retention.
Yeah, you put some golden handcuffs on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of these things where it's like, think about how many people buy a maintenance plan because I get a discount today, right? It's like the discount is cheaper, or I'm going to save more money buying the maintenance plan and getting the discount than I would to not get the maintenance plan. So it's like, yeah, I'll do that. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, well, my time period, whatever I committed to is over. I'm going to stop. And it's like, I'll just sign up again when something breaks. And it's like, if you're doing that, you're defeating the purpose of your whole program. The whole thing is you want to hang on to these customers forever because it's like clockwork. Every 4 years you need a repair, and every 10 years you need a system replacement. So if you have 1,000 members, right, you should expect 100 new system sales every year.
Hello, home service professionals. Do you want to maximize your marketing budget? Then you need to be using call tracking from CallRail. Let's say you noticed a spike in new leads this month. To find out what's driving them, you just log into your CallRail dashboard. Is my new Facebook ad outperforming my other ads? Or is paid search knocking it out of the park? Or maybe it's time to retire those newspaper ads. Since CallRail assigns a unique phone number to each of my marketing efforts, I know where my best leads come from and which efforts to scrap. CallRail shows you your most cost-effective marketing channels so you can get back to business. Go to callrail.com/SBMpod and try it for free. I want to give a huge shout out to Marcus Storm for sponsoring today's episode.
You've heard of Google Ads, Facebook ads, and SEO, but did you know that there's an entire ecosystem, like 80% of the internet, that ads can be served on that you barely heard about?
That's where Marcus Storm operates.
They leverage data science and AI to build customer profiles for your ideal customers and get your ads in front of prospects before they are ready to hire a pro, planting your brand in their minds early and often.
To chat with a team about how they can help you grow your business, visit marcusstorm.ai. If you're a contractor with multiple CSRs, check out this Service Business Mastery podcast partner, Lace.ai. Lace uses cutting-edge AI to analyze your phone calls, uncover lost revenue opportunities, and empower your CSRs to convert more leads. You can significantly increase revenue without spending extra on marketing or hiring by using Lace.ai to boost your conversion rates. For the first time, you can gain deep insights into customer needs at scale with minimal effort. Elevate your call center to achieve industry-leading booking rates and revenue. Visit www.lace.ai to book a demo today. Now back to the show. So tell me this, what happens, heaven forbid, the company goes out of business that has sold, 500 Building 36 devices? How do you handle that? Or maybe you haven't even experienced it.
I would say it hasn't happened in our world yet, but it's happened on the security side, that there's been plenty of security shops. So like we have provisions in our contract that like it would take a change of ownership and for you to be insolvent for us to then transfer those to another dealer. It rarely happens.
Yeah.
That's sort of the very extreme end of the case.
Gotcha. 10-4. I naturally have, a gazillion questions. Every time I talk to you, I have a lot of questions about it. So sometimes I've already asked the questions and I forget. Is there anything that I'm missing here right now, though?
I think the biggest thing that is game changing for us is the fact that we have such high user engagement. The number of times that people log into our app, it's almost twice a day on average that people are logging into our app. So like our app is all branded on the inside for the contractor. So think about that. Think about the brand recognition and the brand impressions you're getting. Literally twice a day, people are opening up this app. Thermostats are just super engaging. And then if you want to layer on some of the other, like door locks,
camera.
Yeah, I was gonna say door locks and doorbell cameras are the two biggest things.
I get like 4 notifications a day at least for my camera that's pointed at my mailbox, because like every time the mail person comes, when the kids get picked up from on the bus, when the kids get dropped off on the bus, and then we always have, because I have a jacked up limousine in the side yard, so people will ride by and then they just like slam on brakes and like slowly creep by, and they're like, "What's going on here?" And I'll get those videos too.
You know it yourself; those are super engaging. But think about it from your perspective. Like if you've got a shop, maybe you have electricians on staff, you're doing multidiscipline stuff, selling additional cameras. Like right now, they're going to Amazon, right? They're buying a Ring doorbell camera. Ring gets $10 a month. How much does a guy who install it get? Nada, right? If you do it with us, we're wholesaling that service fee to you, and then you can sell $10 a month to that customer. That the market has already said, everybody knows they're paying on average $10 to $15 per camera per month. That becomes this additional recurring revenue stream.
That's a good point that you make there. So like my app, the Google app, it only stores 3 hours. So if something happens at like midnight, then it's already wiped off the camera or my app. So when I wake up, I won't have any clue that, or I won't be able to record it or whatever. How does that work with Building 36s?
So we have two options. There's actually a few options, right? So one is we have an SVR product. So like if you want 24/7, like kind of a digital video recorder, we have that. Most of our cameras now have just SD cards that are doing 24/7 recording. So you can just sit there and it's got months of storage on the camera itself, and then you can use the app to retrieve it. And then the third thing is that we're recording selectively. So when we see a person, animal, or vehicle, it saves a clip, and then you go and see those clips. And, if you want to download them or save them or protect them, you can do that. But, again, like depending on the frequency, I think we allot like 3,000 clips a month. So
now, does that cost extra to do it that way? That's included in the...
That's included in that. So when you buy the camera pack, you get the recordings come with that camera pack.
What if I purchased it for my home, my personal home, and I already have 3 Google Home cameras? how would that work?
Cameras are a sensitive thing just because of the privacy on them. Like we do kind of a layer of security on these cameras above and beyond what most people have. So right now we're working on some third-party camera takeover space, but that's more in the commercial world. Like if you go to a big building and you've got, dozens of security cameras, we have methods to take over all those. For the home cameras, we use the alarm.com cameras and just because of the security requirements on them, like we're not going to just let any camera come into our network.
If you're not careful, they can get hacked. And then all of a sudden, like all your inside cameras and everything else. I forgot I have a couple inside cameras that look at like the front door, so that if we get an intruder or whatever. But man, it sucks whenever like we had snow one time. Like that's the one that comes to the top of my mind. And it snowed at like I'm in South Georgia for anybody that's listening to this. So like we don't get snow ever. And it snowed and it started snowing like at 10 o'clock at night. And then by 2 o'clock in the morning, it was done. But we had so much snow on the ground. And when I say so much snow, like we had 6 or 7 inches of snow, and we don't get snow. So that's like crazy. But then come the next morning, half of it's melted, as soon as the sun comes up or as soon as I wake up. And so then like all the recorded stuff is just because I have, I could see it on the camera, but it's all gone because it doesn't save it after, that 3-hour time period. Even when it alerts me that someone's there, if I don't pick it up right then to download it, then it's gone.
That's just because these guys, there were a lot of, if you look at the history of cameras, a lot of these people gave away the camera, like sold the camera and then tried to figure out how to upsell. And what they've had to do is they've had to shrink the freemium so much to basically make the freemium not worth it. Like you have to pay the monthly fee.
Yeah, no, that makes sense too, because but the daggum cameras were $300 and something for, and then they didn't come with charging cables and I had to buy those separate. I was like, this is stupid.
Right. No, ours are better. They're cheaper. And you can get PoE ones. So, these guys, so many guys are so good at running low voltage wire. Just do PoE, plug them in. You never have to power over Ethernet.
Oh, power over Ethernet.
Yeah. So then that's easy. Or, these things are relatively simple to do, and the cameras are nice, but it's like if you're an HVAC shop and you don't want to worry about IT stuff, like just the thermostat is a good enough start to get your hooks into that customer because you're monitoring their system. You stay engaged. We've even got preseason test, right? So it's 70 degrees out in Boston. It's like, hey, let's test your AC because we know what's going to happen when it's 90 out. Everybody's going to go crazy and everybody's going to be slammed, right? But if we can catch the people at 70 who turned on their AC, they may not have even realized it's broken themselves. Because honestly, you turn on the AC at 70, the fan starts to blow. You're like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? You don't realize the outdoor unit never turned on.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we know that. So we tell the contractor, we give you the failed report. Now you can shift some of your business earlier in the season, so you've got more capacity on that hot day.
The contractor doesn't have the ability to do that. Like the homeowner has to be the one to turn the thermostat on.
Yeah, the homeowner is the one who hits the button to do that, but the user is prompted to run it. The contractor can say, hey, I want to run some maintenance calls, and he just hits a button on our system and says, boom, and all these people get push notifications, time to schedule your maintenance. Boom. We see 2 to 3% of people will book an appointment immediately on that prompt.
Can you see if the person, like when that prompt gets sent, if someone opened their app at that point? Would the contractor be able to tell that also, like their open rate on the minutes?
Right. They see that response rate. They see, literally what happens is the phone starts ringing, right? So like we see all the digital ones, but the phone starts because you get prompted their phone numbers there too. But it's amazing. I was just going to say that we've had a number of partners that are like, all right, we're full.
Yeah.
Turn
that back off.
We roll them out in stages, they'll do them by zip code or area and like kind of work their way around their base. And it's like, they've had seasons where like, all right, we got to stop. We're full.
Honestly, like that's the smartest way to do it. Like do it by the zip code. That way your technicians can dispatch to the same zip code.
Right. So you can get them all in the same area. And so we've got all sorts of, it's pretty wild to see how many customers come in through the app to book appointments.
Like when you send that blast out, can you have it so that instead of it being your phone number, it goes to the booking widget?
There's also a phone number there as well, but yeah, it goes right to the booking widget. There's a book now button and then it pops right up to the widget.
Let me pivot a little bit. And for those who are listening or watching this, I didn't forewarn Dan that I was going to ask this question. This is what we talk about every week. So I want to make sure that I include it in this episode as well. And that is, what's your take on AI and automation? And is there an API for this product so that you can build more automations on the back end of it as well?
Yeah. At our heart, we are a data warehouse and mining company, right? Like that is what we do. our whole heritage came from data warehousing business, right? So like you look at, we've got billions of sensors that we're monitoring on a daily basis, right? Like the number of, and so I mean, me specifically with AI is us training our model to identify what a broken HVAC system looks like. And it's funny because there's a lot of magic to that, because a broken air conditioner in Orlando looks very different than a broken air conditioner in Boston than it does in San Antonio. And so really refining those models and how we do that. And then everything we have is essentially API driven. So all the alerts, all the notifications, we can trigger whatever you need from that. There's all sorts of other programs that, like, we work with a lot of the utilities. So a lot of these programs, like for backup batteries or demand response, we offer revenue generating opportunities for contractors. If you get your customers to sign up for this, right, there's a rev share that comes back to you.
I'm sure you remember when like Georgia Power came to the contractors and had everybody like trying to get people to sign up for a program where basically you would attach something to a condensing unit. Whenever they had a spike in load, they would cut people's condensing units off. Is that still the case with the thermostat?
No, they've gotten so much smarter about it, because killing the condenser outside, I mean, that your house went from like, that's like going from 100 miles an hour to 0. And like, you're like peeling people off the windshield. It's awful.
And people were like, please disconnect that. Whatever you did, disconnect it.
What they're doing now is they'll just adjust the thermostat by a couple degrees. But it's all overrideable, right? So if you're sitting there at home and you notice it, you can just hit that button.
I'm sure you have an integration with this, which would be really cool to talk about as well. But I work from home most every day. My wife works from home unless she's on military orders, and my kids are home all summer. But I still like have changed. I instead of it being stuck at like 70 degrees or 71 degrees or whatever, day and night.
Thank you to Company Cam for supporting today's episode.
These guys are changing the game for contractors with their smart photo app.
Keep your projects documented and streamline your team's communication with even your most complicated jobs.
Try it for free for 14 days and get 25% off of your first 2 months at companycam.com/SBM. I actually set up my programming for the first time. I mean, I had the same thermostat for 10 years and I finally set up the scheduling, and my electric bill dropped in half, and it was crazy. Like I have a mini split in my office. It stays at like 69 degrees all the time, but it's also 36 SEER mini split. Whereas the other unit in the house is like 16 SEER, and moving it to 78 during the day, it can get uncomfortable. But what I found is that the house actually never gets to 78 degrees. But whenever I had it set on 70, it just would cut on, cut off, and just try and satisfy all day long. Whereas it never really got over 75, most of the times. I am at home all day, most of the days, unless I'm doing an on-site for somebody. But the amount of electricity, the kilowatt usage drastically dropped. And my electric bill went way down as well, because I know that it was during the middle of the peak power usage time is whenever I was cutting my system back. Do you have a way to monitor that? Because there's an app. I'll have to look it up on my phone. I can't remember the name of it. Emporia Energy.
So there's a lot of these
monitor.
Yeah, energy monitor. We have the ability to pull that energy data into our app. So I can show you that my house used, 27 kilowatt hours of energy yesterday. So we have all that. We can monitor at the whole home level, the appliance level, the circuit level, and dial that up. We even have big load shedding devices, right? So like if you wanted to put a hard switch on your pool pump or something, like we can actually come in there and kill power to big loads like that. And where we're going, and we've got a lot of this in work, is integration like with solar inverters. So like if you got solar system, we can pull those into our app. EV chargers are coming, and it's going to be interesting to see where the world goes. Like I feel like the way we buy power, where it's like one price, is we're not much longer for that, right? There's going to be this time of use pricing where when demand is going up, the price is going to go up with it. And so like if you can get smart about banking power and using this time versus that time, you can really manipulate how your bill is, and all of that can be automated to say, hey, I want to be comfortable, but like, let's think about ways that I can shift my demand over to places where it's going to be less expensive.
I know there's other questions out there, but is there anything that I'm missing out on?
It's amazing. Like when you get, setting schedules, we do some extra cool things, I think, with ours too, that, we got remote temperature sensors. So if you got a hot spot or a cold spot, you can run the thermostat off the sensor. Like I know for mine, our air conditioning thermostat's out in the hallway. Probably should have had, Steve and Dario move it over to my bedroom when they were setting up the new system. But it's in the hallway. Everybody closed the door at night. So like it moves 1 degree for every 3 degrees the bedroom moves. So I just put a sensor in the bedroom. It's like, hey, during the day, run off the thermostat, but at night, run off the sensor. And then other smart things too, like where I have door window sensors, right? So it's like if the kids go out to the backyard to play and the AC is on, I just send a message like, turn the AC off, the door's open.
Does it do it automatically or do you have to turn it off the system?
No, you just set up the rules, right?
Okay.
There are all these rules that you can come in and say, do all these things, and little things like where it's like, hey, you come home late, my lights are out. As soon as I hit the open garage door button, all the lights turn on in the house, right? So like you can trigger all these other actions based on what's happening.
Is there an integration with like an if this then that, or like you basically have if this then that built into your system?
Yeah, we have it built into our system.
For those who are listening that don't know what if this then that is, it's a program kind of like Zapier, but it's no code at all. Like you literally like, oh, I have this light I want to turn on remotely type thing. But yeah, I like the fact that you can do it all within your app. About your sensors, the temperature sensors, are they averaging sensors or like, can you set them up as averaging sensors? Like if you have 4 sensors in the house, they can take the average of the 4.
Yeah, you can average them. You can program to say, I want this one during the day, this one during the night, or I want these 2 during the day and these 1 at night. You can set them up however.
That's really cool. I put in a full zone system in my house because I have a long ranch style house and the sun comes up at one end and goes down at the other end. And it would be cool if I would have used that. So then I could change the thermostat, or the temperature sensor. But let me ask you this. What about whenever you have a zone system in a home?
You have one kind of main thermostat that is kind of the brains, and then all the other thermostats connect into that one.
Look the same, or do they look like you can tell like this one's
we have both options,
and the other ones are child?
We have both options. So there's ones that look identical, and then there's ones that are lower cost, right?
Like a
kind of
sensor
get that
looking thing.
economy model.
Like honestly, for me, what I enjoy like is to have like a sensor that kind of blends in with the wall almost, but then you control it all from the main monitor or from your phone.
Right, exactly. And that's essentially what we have. I mean, you have the ability to just put the thermostat at the equipment. You could put a little sensor on the wall. I mean, this thing, ours is about, it's about 1 inch tall, about 1/4 of an inch deep, and it blends into the wall. It's tiny. So those are really nice. But one other big point about the thermostat is that, the main one that's kind of the parent to every other device in the house, it's all connected via cellular, right? So AT&T or Verizon, it has a Wi-Fi backup, but you never have to mess with trying to figure out Nana's Wi-Fi password, right? You go in a house and it's like, hey, how do we get this thing connected? You literally just put it on the wall, give it power, it's done. People don't realize like these connected devices that are sold out there, even some of the best connectivity rates out there, it's like maybe 50% of them ever get connected in the first place.
Oh yeah. 100%. Like I'll go in, I went into like we put in a system and they, put in, it was a 20-seer Bosch, I believe it was. And we put in a Honeywell T-Con or a T6, I think is what it was, T6 Pro. And I went back to do the quality control check with the technician, and I never could figure out how to hook up the Wi-Fi on this. And I was like, the technician is supposed to do it for you. Like that's part of our checklist. But then when I went in and did it, it wasn't intuitive. Like it took like knowing how to do it. And then like I just went to another job the other day. A technician sold an attic fan, and I was like, I'll go do it. I'll go put in an attic fan. That's not a problem. And as soon as I get there, the owner of the house was like, hey, y'all hooked up my Wi-Fi last time. Now this is like a Linux system. We don't put in Linux. It was a nice Linux thermostat, S40, I believe is what it was. I was like, okay, let me hook it up. And so then like, I don't know anything about Linux because I don't install Linux unit. And so I'm like over here Googling things, trying to figure out how to hook this thing up. And it was like, there's a PIN number that should pop up. And I was like, no PIN number's popping up. And this guy, he's in his 70s, and he's like, I can't see it. I can't hook up the Wi-Fi, all this other stuff. And I'm like, And I'm over here like completely finished with the install of the attic fan, and I'm still spending 30 minutes trying to hook up his Wi-Fi on his thermostat.
So you know what you have to do with ours? You have to plug it in. So when you give power to it, and then that's it. So the one you have one test, one thing. You have to type in the customer's cell phone number into the screen of the thermostat.
With that being said, how does the Z-Wave connect to everything else? It finds all the stuff.
When we have kits, we call them the Essentials kit. When the Essentials kit comes with the thermostat, all those devices are already pre-learned in. So all you have to do is you plug in the smart plug, you pull the battery tab on the water sensor, you're done. And even then, adding a device, you literally on the screen of the thermostat, there's a smart home menu, you hit add device, and then there's a button on like the water sensor, or there's a button on the door window sensor, you press the button or pull the battery tab, and then they just magically learn in, and that's it.
So like one of the issues that I had with my Z-Wave system that I have, was that the condensing unit was like through 4 walls from my thermostat. And so it would always lose connectivity to the outdoor unit. Like the indoor unit was trying to talk to the outdoor unit, and they would lose connectivity all the time. And it was such a pain. I ended up, the program is not even in existence anymore. I do have like 6 boxes of them over here in a closet, but
a couple of things have happened. One is that the chips with each iteration, they've got significantly better range on them. The other thing that Z-Wave has is that anything that you have plugged in, if it's got power, it will repeat the signal. But now, I mean, like our thermostat, we take it out into an open field. I mean, the thing goes like 600-700 feet, no problem, right? So it's like we used to look at how many hops you need and all these other things, and it's like it just doesn't come up anymore.
Because used to, like when the train,
the old Nexia stuff,
they first came out, you had to have like a Z-Wave bridge sometimes, right. And I was like, oh, that was a pain.
Right. No, and that's, I mean, that was, it's kind of
crazy. A long time ago.
I was gonna say that's like 15 years ago.
Yeah, I know. That was a long time ago.
It's like I remember getting that, and it's just like, wow, that was actually a long time ago.
Showing my age there.
Yeah, I know. But no, all the new stuff. I mean, our stuff, like our technicians, like the average install time is sub 5 minutes now. So like you just get the thing on the wall, and it also configures itself, right? So you plug the wires in the right place on the thermostat. It knows it's a heat pump. It knows it's a multi-stage system. All you literally need to do is put the wires in the right place, and it'll configure itself.
But the thermostat itself is the base. Like you must have the thermostat to make like the cameras work or any of the other things, right?
Yes and no. So a lot of the Z-Wave sensors need at least a thermostat. We have a hub, so if you don't have the thermostat, you could also get this box that all the devices could talk to. But the thermostat is clearly the thing that makes the most sense for HVAC guys to be putting in.
The reason I asked that is like if you're going to like the train that has to have it, or like you said, you integrate with some of them, but you have to have, some of them are like DC voltage, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right. Yeah. So in that case, there's 2 options. I mean, like, shoot, you could make stuff work on our system. You can make stuff work with our system without even needing any hardware at all. So like I could make a system with your, call it your Lennox iComfort thermostat plus your Lutron lights and your LiftMaster garage doors. And I can pull all those into our app that would be branded for you.
Okay. And then you just pay a monthly fee to monitor it.
Exactly. You're paying to access to our platform in the app, but yeah, you're paying the fee so you get access to that. But literally everything you're going to get in the app, and you just go into our app and hit add a device, and then you'd say like Lennox, and then you'd enter your Lennox login. You go to LiftMaster, similar type of deal. And
is it a flat fee per device, or how does that work?
Per home. So the only thing that's actually it's a flat fee every month, regardless of what you want to add. You want to add 50 light switches, a sprinkler, and it's just to get access to the platform. So we charge per platform, per home, and that's it. The only exception is video, and we wholesale video. So, but again, the idea is that you're taking video and marking it up and making all that additional revenue off of it.
Typically, are you seeing the contractor pay that and then they mark it up and then
for video? Yeah, for sure.
What is the normal fee? Like, for your usage fee for platform?
I mean, so it depends if you're taking, if you want free hardware, it's $10 a month. And if it's, call it $7 a month, or,
okay,
we kind of in that sliding scale, but even if you said, just to make the math easy, you said there's a $5 and a $10, right? It's like most people are taking their maintenance plans at like $25 a month. And we see, depending on what you add, like some of our partners are saying, hey, I want to do full parts and labor, right? And they're going out $75 a month. The average plan, I feel like, is between $25 and $35 a month, and maybe it's an additional, another $10, $15 if you want to add a second system on there.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. We don't have a ton of like multiple system homes around our area. A lot of times the builders are trying to throw like a 4-ton in there and then put zone systems in.
Right.
And the homeowners pissed off because it doesn't work. And
no, it's
hot and cold spots in the house.
Yeah. And that's, the temperature sensors help a lot in that case.
What about whenever it is like we have a lot of townhomes or like triplexes, fourplexes, and it's like upstairs, downstairs zone system?
In that case, you'd have 2 different thermostats, and you'd have one master, one child, and be able to control it like that. And so it would just look like 2 different thermostats. But those situations, it's critical. Like the temp sensors help a lot there, because when you have that stratification in a home, the top floor is hot and the bottom floor is cold, and really getting those sensors dialed in so that you can be comfortable. It's an art form, right?
Josh did ask, even though Josh isn't here, he did ask in the chat. He was talking about a cool feature. I don't know what feature you're talking about. He's behind in the conversation, but does it work with the modulating/variable speed systems?
So it depends on the equipment manufacturer. Anybody using 24-volt controls, we can throw our thermostat on. It'll work great. Again, a lot of the modulating variable speed stuff use the proprietary controls. And so for those, we do what we call a cloud-to-cloud integration. So we pull those into the app, but like Carrier, Rheem, Lennox, right? And even some just standalone thermostats, like we integrate with Ecobee, some of the Honeywell stats. So that, our platform incorporates a lot of these.
Yeah, that's about all the time we have. Building36.com. Dan, I appreciate you hanging out with us. You want to share before we wrap things up?
I got one more thing for you, is that because we make the thermostats for a lot of the security players out there, we actually have a program where we're setting up a relationship between the security providers and the HVAC providers, because the security guy wants a thermostat on the account because it makes a better customer in the security world, but they don't want the phone call that says, I got a broken thermostat, because it's not a broken thermostat. It's broken air conditioner, it's broken furnace. We can actually funnel some of those leads back to the HVAC partner in a given market. So we're looking, it's like I said, we're in over 10 million properties. We got about 1.2 million homes with thermostats. And that's growing leaps and bounds. And so like there's opportunities for us to help contractors get into homes of our security customers that don't have thermostats, to say, hey, I'll tell you what, let's install a thermostat. It's $200, but if you sign up for my maintenance plan, we'll do it for free, or $99, whatever the deal is.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity for us to help you get into homes. So
that's really cool, dude.
There's a couple of different ways that we can help you get to market. But for the one takeaway I have for you is that memberships are going to be your defense against the changing world of search and AI and how you're going to find customers. If you have customers that are members, they're going to buy from you.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is get members and keep members, and Building 36 is the ultimate way for you to hang on to your customers.
That's cool, man. Dan, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. If anybody has any questions at all, is it Building 36 the best place for them to go?
Yeah. Or you want to reach out to me directly, Dan at building36.com. I'll get you to whoever you need to talk to get you the answers you need.
Cool, man. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Tersh. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.